already today, and so we will get excited already now for what is coming up. So without any further ado, Eran, the stage is yours.
Great, thanks. So let me just share. Do you see my screen? Okay, so basically, I did something to the company a few years ago. It was in Hebrew. I changed it to English and tweaked a bit to suit people that are not as familiar with the Jewish and Hebrew tradition. So let's take it. So Passover, Pesach. So let's see what is it all about. Okay, here you someone she's saying chametz, chametz. We'll see what is chametz, leaven. We'll see what it's about and how it is related to Passover. So Jewish holidays. So first thing maybe to know about Jewish holidays. Okay, in Hebrew it's called the. Let me see. Okay, it's called Chag. Okay, Chagim. Chag in Hebrew means something that goes round in circles. So the Jewish people has lots of history, thousands of years. Many things happened, many big things, but not everything turned into a holiday. Only things that according to tradition, it's not just happened once and we remembered it, that it goes round in circles, Chag, and every year during this time this special energy, light, something that happens, goes and arrives again. Okay, every year in this time, and there are specific things that you need to do during the time to get this special gift of this time. So, for example, here this slide, he asks people what is the most important holiday to you? So see, most people talk about Yom Kippur. This is considered the most holy day of the year. So in Yom Kippur, you have to fast to get a special out. So you have Rosh Hashanah. Okay, maybe you celebrate. So in Rosh Hashanah, you have to listen to the sound of a shofar during Rosh Hashanah. So in Pesach, we'll see what happens in Pesach. For we had Hanukkah just a little while ago, and there you have to light the candles and look into the candles to get a space. So this is the holidays. Every holiday have a specific thing that you have to do, and also a specific meaning, and very special and unique gifts. So Pesach is about freedom and breaking free. Okay, so it's in line with the story of how the Jewish people broke free from Egypt, and always it's about personally about us, the things that we can and want and can break free also from in our personal lives. Um, so Passover, this is from Wikipedia, also called Pesach in Hebrew, major Jewish holiday celebrates the biblical story of the Israelites' escape from slavery in Egypt. Okay, so I'm sure that you know the story. So when was this Exodus? Okay, so how long ago was it according to tradition? So this is 1300 BC. Okay, that's 3300 years ago. And ever since then till today, there wasn't a single year that we missed it. The big commandment for the people that were there in this time, you have to tell your sons about it and tell them to tell their sons about it. And this is to this day the biggest thing in the evening in Pesach is to tell the children about what happened. So this is every year. So for 3,000 years, the way we celebrate Pesach changed, we'll see, but every year since then it's being celebrated. So how did we even get to Egypt? With this we see in the photo here, this is Abraham. Okay, you can see what time he lived according to a tradition. And after Abraham, we had Isaac, his son. Okay, this is his years, and we had Jacob. Okay, so these are the three fathers of the Jewish nation, also the Christian and the Muslim came. All of them came from Abraham. But the sons of Jacob, they all lived in Israel. He had 12 sons and their families, and then there was a famine. Okay, there was no food, and there was food in Egypt thanks to Joseph, if you know the story. And they went to Egypt. Okay, there were only 70 people went to Egypt. They stayed there for 210 years as a family. And then during this time, and by the way, the slavery was only for the last 90 years or so. And in Egypt, during the time, from a family, of Israel. Israel was one of the name of Jacob. Okay, it's just the people of Israel because this is the name of Jacob. So they came out the people of Israel. Okay, this is a verse from the Torah, from the book of Deuteronomy. Your ancestors who went into Egypt were 70 in all. Okay, just 70 people, and now the Lord your God has made them as numerous as the stars in the sky. So this is what you see here in the photo. When the Israelites came out to the desert, they had a very organized way that they parked. Okay, they were for 40 years according to tradition, went from place to place, and always when they parked, in the middle there was a temporary temple, and they parked. There's 12 tribes for each of the sons. So this is how they became the people, and eventually went into the state, the land of Israel. So today, when we celebrate Passover, we have the Seder. The Seder, this is the ritual feast that begins Pesach, okay? The holiday of Pesach, you have it for 7 days, and you have the first holiday in the beginning, there's a second one after that. So if you're joining a Passover Seder, this is the main thing, that there's a huge family gathering and people coming, where you're doing the Seder. So this is the ritual feast, and we'll talk a bit about what is the Seder and what happens then. So first thing to understand, not always we had the Seder, the feast. Pesach is one of the three pilgrim holidays. We have also Sukkot and Shavuot. There were 3 times a year that all the people in Israel came to the temple. Of course, when there was a temple. Okay, we had two temples. The first one was 10,000 BC for 420 years, and was the second temple. Twice they destroyed. And rebuilt. Once was rebuilt. We have the first and second temple, and so the people came to the temple during Passover. They had a special sacrifice of Pesach, and they hear the sacred singing. Again, so this was the way they celebrated Pesach when we had the temple. But then the second temple was destroyed by the Romans in the year 70, and then they have to reshape how we celebrate Pesach and remember the occurrence of the Exodus of Egypt. And this is how we became the Seder and the way we celebrate Pesach today. So what happens in the Seder? So in the Seder, first, the main thing that we have, other than food, is the Haggadah. The Haggadah is an ancient Jewish text. Okay, you see, the temple was almost 2,000 years ago. It was destroyed, and the ancient leaders, the wise men of the Jewish tradition, they came up with this text. It takes up things from the Torah and from many different things, and it's telling the story of Exodus, and sets forth the order of the Passover Seder. The word Seder in Hebrew means order, because to this night, you remember we said there's specific thing you need to do to get the special night of Pesach, and specifically in the night of the Seder. So there is a very special order of things that you have to do during this night. And the Haggadah, it also tells the story of the Exodus of Egypt, and also gives you the Seder. Actually, there's 15 things you need to do. Kadesh, Uchatz, Karpatz, Yachatz. You have the different things that you need to do one after the other. It's all in the Seder. By the way, number 11, Shulchan Orech. This is where you actually get to eat. Okay, so so many people, they come to say, when do we eat already? Okay, so but in there you have the place where you eat the matzah and you drink 4 glasses of wine during special times. You have to so this is the order of the Seder. So everything is there in the Haggadah. Now we have two holidays in Passover. So what happened in each of them? One is in the beginning of the week of Pesach. One is at the end, ending Pesach. So the first one, it's the full moon of Nisan. This is the month that today began. Today is the first day. It's called Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of the Chodesh Nisan. So during the full moon, we have the Seder. What happened then? So we had the 10 plagues of Egypt. Okay, that when we came out. So this was the 10th and the final plague, the plague of the firstborn. Okay, that God killed the firstborn of the Egyptians, and all the Israelites they put blood outside the doors, and they stayed in the house, and they were safe. Okay, and outside, death everywhere in every house, and then there was, it's called Leil Shimurim, that you are safe. It's like you are guarded. So that special night, that during the night was the final plague, the worst one, and on the very next morning, this was the accident. They went out of Egypt finally. So this is what happens in the Leil of Seder. This is what happened, and every year we celebrate this night. And the second holiday, a week after that, what happened? This is the parting of the Red Sea. Okay, it took a week to get to the Red Sea, and then the Egyptians came running after them. Okay, so this was the parting of the sea. So this is what we have on the second Passover. So during the Seder, like we said, the biggest thing to do is the command of you shall tell your child on that day. So Seder is, many people say this, it's mostly for the children. Okay, so to tell the story of what happened in Egypt. And in the Haggadah itself, many things during this night are meant to keep the children engaged and curious. Many special things happened, and there is a special thing that is required, and for the Seder to complete it, but they have to hide it, and people have to look for it and find it, and then they give them a gift in order to give it back, and there is special songs that they have to sing, and many things to keep them engaged and curious, to ask questions, and then you can tell them about all these things about Passover. So one of the big things, of course, about Pesach is that one of the big thing that you need to do is to obtain from a week from eating leavened bread. It's called chametz. It's not just bread, by the way, it's also pasta and beer. It's in made, but the main thing is bread. Okay, so what's really the difference between a matzah bread and a ordinary bread? Because it's the same ingredients, flour and water. So basically, first thing you take away from this is be quick, because to get chametz, leavened bread, you just put the water in the flour and you let it swells. Okay, and then this is something that you're not allowed to eat. Okay, in matzah, if you go to see how they bake it, they really have to be fast, because they have up to 18 minutes, according to tradition, from the time that water touches the flour until it's completely baked. Okay, after fire and everything. So they have to put it really fast, and it's also about that when the people of Israel finally had the chance to escape from Egypt, they had to go immediately, no time to wait. Okay, so the main takeaway for this is be quick. Okay, don't slouch. If you have an option, go. Just go for it. Don't start waiting. Maybe yes, maybe no, maybe tomorrow. So this is matzah. It's about being quick, and also be real, because another thing about leavened bread, that it's swollen and full of air. Okay, because it's the same amount of flour, okay, in the matzah and in the bread, but this is swollen up and full of air. Okay, so it's be real means, okay, so the leavened bread, the bread which we usually eat, represents vanity and deception. Okay, it's full of air, and matzah, it's simply itself represent humility, simplicity, and truth. Okay, so people say, so why don't eat it matzah all year? Why do we eat leavened bread? Or it's if it represents all these things, because they say 1 week a year of not touching it is enough, and then you're immune for the whole year. You can eat bread as much as you want, and you will still remain. You will be able to remain without it being affected. Um, so we said that in Pesach, a huge thing is about freedom, breaking free from slavery. Okay, so what is freedom really? So we talk about the people, how they were slaved in Egypt and have to work and broke free, but it's also a lot about each one of us internally. Are we really free people? Because we are enslaved also to our weaknesses, to our fears, okay, which is holding us back, desires, bad habits, all things which hold us back in life. So Passover is a special time. We have this special light coming down, that if you want to break free from something, this is extra possible during the time of Passover, and it's even more possible than usually. And also, Egypt represents materialism and being enslaved to matter, to the pleasures of the world and to money. Okay, all these things. Okay, so in Passover is breaking free from being enslaved to the worldly things, more to spirit, to spiritual. Okay, so this is also a big thing in the internal meanings of Pesach and the Haggadah Leil Seder. There's many things according to the inner wisdom of Judaism, to Kabbalah, everything. A lot of things there is according to that also, and it's hidden in there. Um, so this is basically it. What's next? Maybe watch The Prince of Egypt with your kids. It's a nice movie. Okay, so if you didn't catch it, so it's a nice way to involve your kids and show them the story of the people of Israel in Egypt and Moses and the 10 plagues and the parting of the sea and all these things. So it's also get them to get a bit connected to what happened during this time in Passover. So that's it for me. Have a happy and kosher Passover. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Ran, thank you. I just would like to ask to send the link to the cartoon in the chat. Thanks.
Which cartoon? Which one?
The Prince of Egypt. You
Ah,
show
sure,
us
sure.
the yeah.
It's not the full movie, but I'm
Uh-huh.
sure that
Oh,
you can
okay.
find. This is just a trailer in YouTube.
Yes. Yeah,
But
okay.
I
I see.
so sorry,
I
but
think
I'm
you
sure
have it
it's pretty
on Netflix,
Netflix.
the full movie. Yes.
If someone can put the Netflix link, if it's in there, that would be great. There's also one called the Kings and something, right, for Egypt. You know that Exodus, Kings, and something.
Exodus. There is. Yeah, yeah. It's a
A
more
new one,
modern.
yeah, the
Yeah.
modern one, Kings and
Yes. Good
somethings, or
movie.
something and Kings. So yeah.
Exodus. Yeah.
So if you have any questions, others, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you, Eran, for your very nice presentation. Is there any special tradition in your family in during Pesach?
Not something special that we do, but just the way other families do. We get together for the Seder. Always is, where do you do the Seder? It's in usually it's a house of someone in the family. And usually, like we said, that different people take it seriously in a different way. But many people, like we said, you have to really avoid, abstain from 1 week from leaven. And it's not just bread; it's pasta, it's beer, it's granola, many things. So you have to take it out of the house. So if it's already open, you just throw it away. Actually, in the morning of just the day before the morning of the seder, you do a bonfire in the yard and you burn the chametz. It's a special and strong moment. And if you have other things which are slowed, you just close it in a drawer and put something and write chametz on it, and it stays there for a week. And so this is pretty much it. And it's very special, to have 1 week that you abstain from something and then go back to it, other than just another week that you just eat everything. So I find it special to obtain from this. So as a child, we didn't do all these things so much because more secular. But as I got older, I found it interesting, appealing. So I took more of it into my life. So creating new traditions with my own personal family that I didn't have with my parents so much, but we did have the seder and everything. Thanks for the question. Other questions?
And
Okay,
also to
so
mention that
yeah,
we have nice recipes for Pesach, matzah bright, and perhaps we can add some recipes here in the chat as well.
yes, people get to be very creative. The different things that you can make from matzah. Okay, so they make pizza from matzah and cakes from matzah and many things. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, the recipes. I keep it simple. but but it's great.
Matzah, matzah with chocolate, with Nutella.
Yes, the
Eran,
best.
thank you so, so much. This was fascinating and super interesting. And I learned also myself a few new things. So thank you so, so much. And I wish to all of us to have a breakthrough Pesach, as you
Hmm.
mentioned, and enjoy the with the families and the holiday freedom time. And thank you so much for sharing all this with us.
Great, thank you very much. My pleasure,
Thank you.
and have a great Pesach,
Thank you. Thank you
everybody.
so
I'll
Thank
see
you.
much.
you in
Thank
the Naya event. Who's coming?
Yeah, on Sunday.
Yes. Okay, so bye, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Bye. Thank
Thank
Bye
you.
you.
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Have a good
Lucia.
weekend.
Thanks,
Bye.
Lucia, for organizing this in Galia.
Sure.
Great
Thank you.
initiative.
Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.